Bart here, and welcome to a new movie review. Well, we come to the end of the original Star Wars prequels. It is said to be one of the better of these films, and in my opinion, it is better than Attack of the Clones. And it is called Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. While the Clone War is going on, Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi go into rescuing Senator Palpatine from Count Dooku and the leader of the droid army, General Grievous. But upon the Jedi's return to Coruscant with Palpatine, Padme tells Anakin that she's pregnant, only to have Anakin get premonitions of her dying in childbirth. Knowing how Anakin wants to keep Padme from dying, Palpatine offers to help him by having him join the dark side. And Anakin turns himself over, as Palpatine, now revealed to be the Emperor, orders an execution of Jedi across the galaxy, using the clone army to do so. But all the while, Obi-Wan goes out in search of General Grievous, Yoda heads to a planet living with Wookiees to help in their battle against droids, Anakin kills younglings and separatists under command of the Emperor rebuilds the Senate as the Empire, etc., etc., etc. While I find Phantom Menace to be good and Attack of the Clones to be okay, this one I found to be pretty fine. But it's not on the same plane as Phantom Menace. The one major criticism I have with this is how the movie was lit. With the other movies, they were either very bright, sort of dark, or in between. Yet the dark stuff was lit in a certain way so that the characters' faces are seen and visible. But here, about 70% of the film is in darkness. I know they're trying to make it like The Empire Strikes Back, where it's the darkest movie of the franchise, but this one not only took it figuratively, but literally, in an almost extreme way, where half of the time, the characters' faces are hard to make out. Sometimes the lighting is pretty fair, but most of it is hard to see. And I do wish that some of the characters and moments they partake in are developed more further. Like Anakin's turn to the dark side could have been made more interesting and not really having to be so worried about it. The two lightsaber duels of Anakin and Obi-Wan and of Yoda and the Emperor could have went on more bigger and longer than having it end so anticlimactic, with Yoda having to give up and say he's defeated, and with Anakin, while ending fine with Obi-Wan's dialogue and such, was completely ruined with the line, "I hate you," which sounds really forced and grating. And speaking of lines from Anakin, now being named Darth Vader, let's go over the moment where he shouts no after hearing what happened to Padme, in such an over-the-top melodramatic way. I myself don't see it as a huge problem when I first saw it in theaters and later on DVD. I just gave a smile at it, because I was glad to see Vader in this film, no matter what he does or says. Incidentally, my mother laughed at that line, mostly because it reminded her of my brother Travis when he shouts it. Yeah, that's true, and I'm sticking with it. General Grievous, while being the coolest-looking character, isn't given much screen time in this film. Now, why would I say that when the previous villains got the same treatment? Well, in my opinion, Grievous should have been the major villain of the prequels, as much as Vader was for the original trilogy. He's such a cool character that it would work with what he does, and he's more better than Darth Mohr or Count Dooku. But he's only used in this film. At least the Star Wars Clone Wars miniseries that took place before this film has more of him in it, so there's that. But there are a few interesting things that almost make it a decent flick. Like how everything leads up to A New Hope. And yeah, it's a lot to take in and to go over, but I'll go over the major ones. Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader, Padme giving birth to Luke and Leia, the Death Star being under construction, Luke and Leia separated at birth, C-3PO and R2-D2 left in the care of the Rebel Alliance, Yoda going to Dagobah. Oh wait, that's a deleted scene. Anyway, despite having to do as much as they could to wrap up the prequels, it's all done alright. Although Rogue One is a better lead-up to A New Hope since it's just one detail being the focus. Also add in some fun effects, nice music, decent performances, and the majority of the film is all very fine and at times enjoyable. Now I've already gone over the cast in the previous film, so there's not much to say, but there are a couple of exceptions that I missed, and who all did pretty fine. Jimmy Smits plays Senator Bail Organa, Tamara Morrison plays Commander Cody, and Matthew Wood voices General Grievous. Plus James Earl Jones voices Darth Vader, though being uncredited like the first film. As a whole, this movie is fine. The characters are fine, the story is alright, and the effects are fun. For being the last film to be directed by George Lucas, as well as a conclusion to the original Star Wars prequels, it's certainly a decent one and has its moments and even being an almost perfect lead-up to A New Hope. But most of the scenes are too dark to make out, certain moments and characters could have held up more longer, and some bits are pretty forgettable. Yet after viewing all the Star Wars films and even more coming along, this one is not too bad. But I'd still go with Phantom Menace as my favorite of the prequels, and A New Hope as my favorite of the first trilogy. So today, this movie we get a rating of 2.5+ stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for a new video. Well, here's another movie that I saw in theaters, and I hope you enjoy my review of it. And don't take it the wrong way when I say these things, so enjoy. Now we go over another movie from DC, and one that everyone enjoys, but me. It's the film about the most well-known female superhero, Wonder Woman, based on the characters created from William Moulton Marston and Harry G. Peter, and from DC Comics. The story is about a woman named Diana, a princess living on an island paradise where other women called the Amazons train and fight as warriors to protect their home. And while Diana trains as a warrior, an aircraft crashes near the island, and she rescues a World War II soldier named Steve Trevor, an American spy who is on a mission to find out the Germans' plan of releasing a chemical gas across the world. Thinking this war is the work of Ares, the god of war, Diana goes with Steve to help in ending the war by killing Ares with a sword she calls Godkiller, only to find out who she really is. Director Patty Jenkins had made a DC movie that I really found to be mostly meh. And it's strange because this film came out the same weekend as Captain Underpants, which was also a meh movie, but it felt embarrassing and funny that it became bad. This one's not really a bad meh, but more of a meh that I don't really have a lot to say of it, except that it's like a cross between Thor and Captain America First Avenger. The ending for it is ridiculous, with who the villain is and such. There's a couple of decent action scenes, and a few good laughs, but that's really it. I don't have much to say about the characters, the story, or the effects, other than they're just all meh. But that's how it is when I'm not really into Wonder Woman anyway. In fact, the name is never mentioned in the entire film. Still, overall, it's such a meh movie that it becomes bland. So today I'm giving this movie a rating of 2.5 mixed stars. And that is it. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for a new video. Well, we have come to the end of the original Star Wars prequels. And this one is said to be one of the better of these films, and I think it is better than Attack of the Clones. And it is called Star Wars Episode 3. Oh, come on, cars. While I found Phantom Menace to be good and Attack of the Clones to be okay, this one I found to be pretty fine. But it's not on the same plane as Attack. No. Well, here's another movie that I saw in theaters, and I hope you enjoyed my review of it. And don't try to take it the wrong way when I say these things. So, hope you enjoy it, and I'll finally repeat myself.